Hello there. Let's take a couple of minutes to look at our new product called dAnalyzer for Excel. It's based off of our existing products that have been very successful at helping you analyze business information. This product's very similar. It takes an Excel spreadsheet. In this case, I've got an example here that's very straightforward, very simple. It's got headers across the top and then columns of information. So sales total information, units, item codes, even calculated fields. Here we can see commission is based off of a formula that works off of a total sale amount. And if we scroll over here, we can see that we've got things like invoice numbers, customer information, and this varies on a line-by-line basis. So what we want to do with this is take this Excel spreadsheet and be able to do some very useful, meaningful things with it very, very quickly. So I'll go ahead and close that. In order to use that spreadsheet, we need to open it. You can do that through opening the source document, or you can choose either the summary or the detail views and go ahead and select that and open that spreadsheet. And what that does is it goes out and reads the spreadsheet and then brings it into dAnalyzer for Excel and presents all those columns as available columns that you can use. Really cool here because now in a couple of seconds I can quickly do meaningful things with it. For example, here I can say I'll drag sales total down and that'll show me the total sales total amount if I added up all the rows. But then I can start to break it down further. I can say, well, I want to break that sales total down based on customer. I'll drag the customer field in and now I have a breakdown by customer. Of course, I probably want to break that down further, so I'm going to use invoice date. But in addition to using invoice date, I'm going to use invoice date year, which is a custom field we create on the fly as we read that information into dAnalyzer for Excel. So now I have a breakdown by customer by year, this year versus last year. And I can keep going with that. I can say, well, I'm also interested in breaking it down into sales where there was a rebate applicable versus sales where there wasn't. And let's actually put that over here. So now I can see those where there was rebates versus those where there wasn't rebates. Very easy to do. Just drag a column in, and I can drag that back up again. So now we basically have this breakdown. We can take that further. We can say, well, we're interested in customers in one respect. We'll go ahead and save that layout, and we'll say that this is customer sales by year, and we'll save that. But then let's change this layout. Let's say that we're not interested in customer now. We want just a breakdown of by year and by month. So now what we have is a breakdown that shows us January through December, breakdown last year versus this year. The cool part about this is that everything is easier than you would imagine it would be in Excel. I can go ahead and select these columns, and now I have a graph. All I have to do is select them, it automatically graphs it for us. And I'll drag this over here so it's a little easier to see. And here we can see we've got a this year versus last year graph showing us lines for last year and lines for this year. Very straightforward. You can do all kinds of different layouts. So for example, I might say, well, I'm interested not so much in this one being a date one. Let's save it though. Before we do that, we'll say that this is year by month sales. And I'll go ahead and save that. Let's drag the month out, and let's say we're just interested in a simple breakdown. We want to know based on, let's say, the invoice date day. We'll drag that down here, and that gives us a breakdown of sales Sunday through Saturday. And we can tell by looking here what our highest sales day is. We can graph that, so I can go ahead and select that, and that creates another kind of graph. So here we now see that we have a graph that gives us a pie chart that shows us days of the week and the highest day of the week, and it pulls out the slice for the highest sales day of the week, which is very cool. Let's go ahead and close that, and we'll save that layout also. We'll say that's sales day graph, for example. As we're building up these layouts and we're working with the spreadsheet, you'll notice that there's a layout drop down, and that keeps a list of these layouts. And switching between the layouts is really simple. I just go ahead and select it, click on OK, and now that brings in the other layout. Go ahead and select that and look at customer sales by year, and that changes it over to a different layout. So you can have many different layouts, all pointed towards a specific spreadsheet, all presenting you with different kinds of information. Again, very simple and straightforward. I've done this all with a few clicks, as opposed to having to do a lot of things in Excel to make this happen. This is the summary grid, very, very useful. There's also a detail grid. The detail grid really focuses more on reporting type solutions. So here it brings in all the columns, but I can rearrange them in whatever order I want. I can move out columns I'm not particularly interested in. For example, for this report, maybe I'm not interested in whether rebates are applicable or whether or not commission is in effect. All I really want to look at is who I sold things to and how much I sold it for. So we'll take units out as well. So very easy to rearrange things. In addition to rearranging things, you can also group and sort. So here I can say, well, I'm particularly interested in grouping based on item code. And in addition to grouping based on item code, I also want to sort from highest to lowest sales total, for example. So I can go ahead and choose that, and now I'm looking at sales of CD203s from the lowest sale amount to the highest sale amount. So very, very easy to do and very, very straightforward.